What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for being here and welcome to a new video. Of course, when I decide to start recording this, the traffic starts to pick up, so I apologize for any background noise. I want to talk in this video about energy. Energy. When you do not have sufficient energy as a human organism, your life can really, truly suck. When you have wrecked energy levels, everything in life becomes more difficult. It feels like you're dragging an anchor around. I don't think the average American really knows what it feels like to be in an aligned body. Again, I don't think the average American knows what it feels like to be in a body that's truly aligned on all levels. When you're in a state of alignment, your energy is through the roof. When you're eating properly, your energy is at an all-time high, guys. And when your energy's at an all-time high, everything in life improves. And I'll tell you this right now, right off the bat. When your energy is high, the many challenges that life will inevitably throw at you become much easier to handle, right? God engineered you as a human being made in the image of the Creator to be able to handle the stresses of this crazy world. But when you're eating poorly, when your energy is shot, those struggles in life become much bigger struggles. So I hope that this channel, I hope that these videos, I hope that my messages can help inspire you to really take your health seriously. Because here's the thing, guys. At the end of the day, you have to be your own physician on the battlefield of life. Again, on the battlefield of life, you have to be your own physician. No one really is going to come save you. And here's the other thing. You're a fool if you neglect your health your whole life and then expect doctors to be able to just save you. Right? If you eat poorly, you will, over a period of time, create nutritional debt. And sometimes you can create such debt that you cannot make up for it. So when you starve your body of vitality, what do you think happens? The machine, the human organism, again made in the image of the Creator, begins to break down. Your defenses lower, your immunity lowers, the health of your endocrine glands diminish. You start to destroy yourself. And that's a cultural thing now, right? It's the cool thing to do, to destroy yourself, to kill yourself slowly. Cultural suicide, I like to call it. And don't tell me that's not what's going on, because I tell you what, you get in a vehicle and you drive into any city, whether it's a small city, major city, you name it. You're going to find, once you hit the city, you're going to find all sorts of fucking garbage fast food restaurants. Coffee shops that sell gluten-containing bread and all the crap. Even here in this small part of Virginia, if I drive into town far enough, there's a Carl's Jr., there's a Wendy's, there's an ABC store where you can get any type of booze you'd ever want. There's junk everywhere. So, life presents nonsense to you pretty much from every front, and it's up to you to use proper discernment to be able to read between all that and make a decision. Life comes down to decisions, right? I don't know if you guys can hear my cats in the background. If you're wondering what that noise is, it sounds like a bird. That's my cat, Oyster. So, life comes down to decisions. And now my cat, Titan, stop, Titan, tries to bully everybody. Stop, bud. Go away. Leave her alone. Life comes down to decisions. Decisions. Decisions, guys. At the end of the day, there's not a whole lot that you can control in life. There just isn't. But one of the things that you can undeniably control is your decisions as to what you put into your mouth. Right? So here's the thing. I know that we live in a world where it can be fun from time to time to engage with the matrix. So what do I mean by that? I promote a healthy lifestyle, but I also promote the fact that there's a time and a place for many things. So when I promote a healthy lifestyle, I'm not telling you that you can never eat junk food again. I'm not telling you that you can never have a plate of mom's pasta or grandma's pasta, again, with her amazing red sauce, whatever. Catch my drift? I'm not saying that you can never have a slice of your dad's famous cheesecake. Of course, it's so weird. The second I start shooting footage, almost always, traffic just comes out of nowhere in this very quiet part of Virginia. There's a time and a place for that. But here's the problem, guys. Most people are eating the majority of their daily calories from that type of junk. And I can't say that mom's pasta is junk per se, but when you eat it all the time, those types of foods can have a detrimental effect on your system through elevating your blood sugar, etc. Those types of foods, at least in my opinion, should be looked at as a magical treat. And when you use them as a magical treat, for instance, maybe your dad, I know my dad does, he makes amazing cheesecake. When I do have a slice of that cheesecake, right, because I'm eating healthy 99% of the time, that food, which is junk, becomes like a magical item, an enchanted item. But unfortunately, many people are at the behest of bad decision making. Or I can't say they're at the behest of it. They choose to engage in it. So I wish the average person could have a lucid understanding of how good this body and this mind is designed to feel. You're supposed to feel incredible. At 36 years old, you guys, I feel better now than I ever have. I have more energy at 36 than I literally ever have in my life. I wish I was eating the way that I currently eat when I was back in high school, when I was playing competitive water polo and sports, because I would have done 1,000 times better. My energy is so abundant that it can be almost uncomfortable at times because I always want to be doing something. And it's not just physical energy. Real energy isn't just related to the physical body. It's also related to the mental faculties because the mind does use energy, you guys. It does. In fact, you use the mind to dictate what you're going to do with the physical body. Thoughts use energy, believe it or not. But I just wish, I truly wish, that the average individual knew how good the human body and mind can actually feel. Because if they knew, they would now have a reference point to gauge where they are in life currently. Because most people aren't in that bracket of feeling that good. And it's largely predicated upon diet. I've said it once and I'm going to say it again. Diet isn't the complete puzzle, but it's a large portion of it. You cannot circumvent this. There's people out there that say that what you put in your mouth has no effect. It's all mental, this, that, and the other. Bullshit. Don't eat for a year then. If you think that food doesn't matter, then stop eating. Food does matter. Your body requires an adequate, consistent flow of 90 essential nutrients, vitamins, amino acids, essential fatty acids, and minerals. Did I say minerals twice? Vitamins, minerals, essential fatty acids, and amino acids. You need an adequate flow of those. And the only way you're getting those consistently is through what you eat. It's the only way. So let me just tell you what I'm eating currently. Because I've been getting a lot of questions about this, even though I've talked about it in a handful of recent videos. I've pretty much explained exactly what I'm doing. I will, however, say that in the coming few days to week, maybe 2 weeks tops, I'm not sure, I'm still polishing it. I'm going to have a PDF that you can purchase for instant download on my website, serpentsource.com, where I lay out everything. Exactly what it is I'm putting in my body, how much I'm eating. I talk about the electrolytes, how to make an electrolyte potion. I give you guys the morning coffee potion recipe, different Venom recipes, etc. But the basic gist of it, guys, is I'm getting 90+% of my macronutrients from fruit. What am I saying? From meat. From meat. I'm pretty much eating all of my calories from meat and fruit. Meat and fruit. I also consume Venom every night. Venom is a shake. Titan. Stop. Leave her alone, bud. Venom is a shake that I use, or that I created, that consists largely of a caloric backbone of raw eggs. Venom is a really important piece of the diet that I currently follow. I've derived so much benefit from using this recipe, if we want to call it that. I look at it as an elixir, a potion, you name it. So I fast almost every single day. There's a rare occasion where I'll eat during the day. I actually ate during the day today because I went on a 11-mile run/walk, and I was just drained because I didn't eat much last night. Oyster chill. So I fast. During my fast, I drink coffee and water and electrolytes. I break my fast with a Venom shake. It's got raw eggs in it, usually a couple bananas, sometimes less, sometimes more, and a few other things. I've got the Venom recipe here on YouTube. I need to make updated videos, and I will. Those are coming. The Serpent's Kitchen episodes, I'm going to start prioritizing producing more of those. But I fast all day. I break my fast with Venom. I let the Venom digest a little while, and then I eat my main meal, right? Which is meat. And then maybe an hour or two later, if I'm hungry, I might have a little bit more meat, or I'll have maybe a small bowl of cherries, or mangoes, which are one of my favorites, or some star fruit, which is another one of my favorites, or cherimoyas. Right now, my fruit calories are largely coming from wild-crafted black raspberries that grow in abundance along a creek that grows next to this abandoned railroad that's near the house. It's all free food. Anytime, if you're serious, let me put it this way, if you're serious about your health, then you must make sure that anytime you have access to wild food, wild fruit, wild berries, you name it, you better do your best to harvest as much of that as you can and eat as much of that as you can. Because the wild foods, they are on a whole different level of nutrition. And it's not just a matter, you guys, of the fact that they're wild and they haven't been sprayed with herbicides and fungicides, you name it. Wild foods are ancient foods. They contain telluric energy from the wild kingdom around them. These are true ancestral foods. There's an intelligence in wild foods that you will never be able to find in monocropped produce. You just won't. Ever. The amount of kundalini energy in wild berries, for instance, is insane. So lately, because I have all these wild black raspberries growing around me, I've been foraging so many of them, I've got a chest freezer full of them. I freeze them because I can't keep up with eating all of them. I don't prefer frozen fruit, but it's better than not having it, right? Freezing food does diminish some degree of nutrient density or quantity, but it's a negligible amount. I know that these berries aren't going to be here forever, so I'm taking as much as I can and doing everything that I can to preserve them so I can have them in the weeks to come when the berries stop producing on the vine. But let me just say this before we continue this rant. Those wild-crafted black raspberries, I put a small handful, maybe a half cup, sometimes a whole cup in my Venom shake at night. The amount of energy in these berries is ludicrous. It is insane. I can literally feel my meridians lighting up with energy that's being transferred from the berries into my vital body, into my primal body, into my etheric body, into my meridians. Now, these berries also have such a high satiety factor. And what I mean by that is they satiate you. There's times where I have to force myself to eat my main meal because my Venom shake, because there's those wild black raspberries in there, I have no desire to eat after I have the Venom shake. They're that strong in their satiety factor. Many store-bought foods just don't have that, you guys, because they don't truly feed the various parts of our organism. Real food's supposed to feed far beyond the physical body. Real food feeds the etheric body, the primal body, the vital body, the marmas. Do you see what I'm saying? So anytime life gives you wild food, you better take as much of it as you can. Get a little greedy and load up, guys. Yeah, it's like, I'm going to have to check with my mother, because back home in California, my parents have an apple tree. And I'm not sure if those apples, I think they may have already all fallen down. I'm not sure. I feel like a fool for not asking earlier. I just thought of it, actually. But when I was back home in California, I would eat as many of those as I could. I would ferment them, freeze them, you name it. They're green apples, which don't have as much sugar in them, which is perfect. But again, when I was back in California, you guys, I ate as many of those as I could. I would go around on my bicycle, especially when I was in my early 20s, when I was cycling a lot. I would bring a backpack with me, sometimes a shoulder pack as well, and I would bike around town, and I would find fruit trees, and I would knock on people's door and ask them, can I pay you money for some of your citrus, your lemons, your oranges, whatever. Most of the time they'd say, take as much of it as you want for free. There were also times where I'd go into rogue mode, and I would find, there were a lot of orange trees that did this. I would bike along these trails in California, and many people had orange trees that were growing over their fence, and you could access the orange tree because it would grow into, like, or over the fence into the trail. So I would be really quiet about it. I'd bring some, like, scissors and cut citrus off that was hanging over into the trail. I would load my backpack up with so much fruit. Sometimes it was difficult to even get home because there were so many pounds of fruit in my backpack. There was 2 peach trees near my parents' house in California. And there was a I'm not going to say what it was, but there was a business there where these were growing, and the business had shut down temporarily. And I would bike by these 2 trees, these peach trees, like every other day. And they started getting so ripe that they would just fall on the ground and rot. So it's like, okay, I'm going to take these. I waited to see if someone, maybe the owner, would come and take them, the owner of the property, but no one ever came. I took almost every single peach off those trees, and I would bring them back home. I'd lay them out on my counter, 50 plus peaches sometimes, you guys, and I'd let them ripen. And do you have any clue not only how delicious a raw peach is off of a tree, but how much more energy is contained within its sweet, delicious flesh? These are the types of foods that we're meant to be eating, you guys. There's a reason why fruit tastes as good as it does. There's also a reason why fruits contain significantly lower amounts of plant toxins than, for instance, cruciferous vegetables, dark leafy greens, you name it. There's a significantly lower amount of anti-nutrients in fruit. Now, I believe that God designed us to eat fruit also so that we can take the seeds out of the fruit. It's a perfect system. God gives you these delicious fruits. You eat them. It's an ecstatic, beautiful experience, a nirvanic experience, eating real wild fruit. And then you take the seeds. You hold on to the seeds, and you germinate them, and you grow more and more fruit, more and more fruit. It's a Fibonacci sequence in live time. God's design here in Eden is genius. You eat the fruit, you grow the fruit, you replicate the fruit. Each fruit has a code in it called a seed that allows you to replicate its abundance. It's a beautiful system. It's like, do I sound crazy? I don't care if I do, but I get fucking, like, just so blissed out just by thinking of wild fruit and eating it. You ever had, like, a wild plum? Or a homegrown plum? Eat a homegrown plum from a tree that was raised properly and fed properly, and then go to your fucking Safeway and buy some plums. What is going on with the plums from Safeway? What is going on with the plums from Food City, from Food Lion? They're disgusting. They're disgusting. And many people will go their whole life never having, like, a real plum, right? So they think the store-bought slop is good. It's insane. On top of that, you guys, Another piece to the insanity here is the price of fruit. It's ridiculous. You don't really get a whole lot of calories for how much you spend. Like today I bought 3 pounds of cherries. I think it was like $6. It was $2 a pound. They're normally $5.99 or $4.99 or $5.99 a pound. The only reason I got them is because they were cheap. But even though I got about 3 pounds, there's really not a whole lot of calories in them. But look at nature's design. It's supposed to be abundance. Like there should be fruit growing everywhere, at least in my opinion. But look at what we have. We have people with lawns everywhere that take up massive amounts of energy because of how much water you have to feed your grass. Imagine if every home, for the most part, in the United States or wherever you are, imagine if people grew the most delicious, fragrant fruit in their front yards. To the point where when you walk down the street, it's just a cornucopia, an endless, like a cave that you walk through, of fruit trees. Imagine the smell of that, you guys. Like it's supposed to be free. That's what I'm trying to get at. Unfortunately, we don't live in that type of world, and we do live in a matrix, a counterfeit reality. So you do have to pay to play. So I'm not complaining per se. It's just amazing to look at like the original design and then contrast it to the Matrix design. It's embarrassing, you guys. It's embarrassing. So, I'm eating meat, fruit, venom, flower essences, supplements, electrolyte potions, coffee potions, and a few other things. Non-ordinary potions that propel my consciousness into the realm of the non-ordinary. I enter into non-ordinary states of consciousness to access non-ordinary knowledge, and I bring it back into the material realm and implement it into what I like to call the ordinary world, which is the first attention. So, when you eat properly, you will develop massive reservoirs of energy. And then you're going to need something to do with that energy, right? Because the energy isn't just physical. I'm not saying that, oh, you have all this energy, so you should run now. Although I do suggest running. It's the greatest exercise ever. You're going to need an outlet for that energy. It's physical. It's not just exercise or rigorous movement. It's mental energy that you get as well. So when you have a surplus of energy, you can funnel that into creative endeavors, whether that be a business that you want to develop, right? Artwork. Titan. Stop, bud. Come on. Stop. You need to get your energy up. I don't want you to be one of the many people who will go their whole lives never knowing how good it feels to actually be in one of these bodies. This is a physical spacesuit that you use to navigate the third dimension. This spacesuit, the human organism, is designed to be able to experience consistent states of enlightenment consciousness known as kundalini. And in order for that spark to rise or turn into a fire, you've got to have energy, you guys. You do. So I would highly suggest that you wise up. This cat is out of his mind, I tell you what. He bites Oyster's neck. Stop. Stop. I would suggest that you take your time seriously, unplug from the insanity, and stop being a victim. And I'm not pointing my fingers at anyone in particular. I'm just saying that we often sympathize with our problems and we end up feeling sorry for ourselves to the point where we waste a lot of time that we could actually use to heal, to grow, to expand, to create businesses, right? Like the human being is the most powerful force in the universe, you guys. But you're never going to know that if you don't have energy. So I'm going to wrap this one up. Just kind of a brief rant. I eat meat and fruit, venom shakes, targeted supplements, electrolyte potions, coffee potions, flower essences. Everything that I eat is 100% real. On a very, very rare occasion, at this point in my life, I might have some standard American foods. But it's been a real long time. But when you get to a point where you're eating most of your calories from real food, you can afford to have some junk here and there, you guys. The problem is that most people are eating junk as their daily source of calories. And when you do that, it ruins your health, and it ruins your health real quickly. And it's not just your physical health, the health of your glands, your prostate, your lungs, whatever. You ruin the health of your mind. And once the mind or the mental health is hindered, that's really when life starts to become a mess. But you can access the keys to healing. And in life, as I mentioned earlier, you can be your own physician. The things that you feel are setbacks now can become stepping stones for growth if you allow them to. You have to. That's the only way forward. You can use the predicaments of your current reality as fuel for growth, or you can identify with them and get drowned by them. The choice is yours, and it's yours alone. But I'm telling you what, guys, when you finally decide to use strife, setbacks, difficulties in life as fuel, and you actually burn through that fuel and get to the next level, your spiritual maturity will elevate because you've transmuted negativity into positivity. And when you do that, you guys, you are going to grow in your confidence 10,000-fold. You can get to the point where you just feel like the most infinitely abundant, intelligent machine. You're an extension of the Creator. When the Creator creates something, it doesn't separate itself from its creation. By fueling yourself properly, you will start to feel the soul animating your flesh. When that happens, you will feel connected to God throughout your entire being. And that's when everything starts to align, because we're supposed to have a conscious connection to God constantly. We're not supposed to reach out to God and ask, will you please make yourself apparent? No, we're supposed to feel God. It's part of the human design, because God is us. Do you see what I'm saying? But what they've done is they've created a reality, a counterfeit copy of the original reality. And by living in that reality, this sinful world, and engaging in the trappings of that world, it slowly starts to disconnect your conscious, lucid connection or sense of calibration with God. So they separate our connection. And when you feel separated, that's when all the problems come in. I hope that makes sense. I'm going to stop ranting. Until next time, guys, may peace be with you all.